Hi, my name is Mark Fowler. I'm the lead pastor at First United Methodist Church in Madison, Wisconsin. We are on the eve of Juneteenth. The United States Senate has voted that June 19th will be constituted a national holiday. Juneteenth. It is the 19th of June, 1865, that is being remembered. In Texas, June 19th has been a holiday and called Juneteenth, and in many places the date is referred to as Emancipation Day or Freedom Day. It is a reminder of when the last slaves in Texas, in the United States, learned of their emancipation in the proclamation that was signed by Abraham Lincoln. Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the war had ended and that the slaves were now free. Understand that the war had been over for some months, and the emancipation had been signed 3 years prior to the announcement in Galveston. Unbelievably, people had remained in bondage of slavery until they heard the Major General's message. And understandably, with the hearing of the good news, a great many of them believed, rejoiced, and began to live in their newly given freedom, which was slowly taken back over the next decades and years. Sadly, there were also those who refused the news and chose to remain with their old masters. How sad for someone who is free to still live in slavery. This story is not over. Christians and people of goodwill throughout the world understand that we have not fully lived into our humanity, or as we understand it, being children of God in the beloved community. In the United States especially, there have been divisions between peoples, race, gender, choice of who they love and where they live. There is a disparity in the benefits of this society and of the goodwill that is given one to another. Juneteenth this year, I think, reminds us that in many states and many places in this country, the gains in equality, the gains that were meant to bring equity instead of disparity, are being clawed back. The right to vote, the rights that we accord all who are in this land. We are beginning again to narrowly define and divide. And so on Juneteenth, I think that we need to understand that this piece of the history of this country and of the world has been forgotten for a long period of time. I never learned it as a child. I never learned it in college. It was not central to my seminary preparation or my doctoral work. I had not heard of Juneteenth until very recently. The truth of our history and the way we understand it is the path to freedom. Freedom that has already been granted in the notion of creation, as the Gospel of John speaks about. It is freedom that is given by God. It was given again by Jesus. Freedom that is part and parcel of who we are. To reclaim and remember our history is to know how to strive toward freedom. It grieves me that throughout this country, in state houses and local school boards, there is a denial of critical race theory. The whole notion of teaching civil rights and these pieces of history are being denied. And so it is a reassessment of who we are as a people to establish what is considered the tradition. And the tradition is of white privilege, of the construction of whiteness, of the denial of full humanity to our African American sisters and brothers and siblings. And that will be extended to Asians and Pacific Islanders, to Latinos, to Muslims, to immigrants, to LGBTQIA people. This cry to return to the tradition is a cry to return to the lack of freedom, except for a very narrow group of people who claim for themselves the full privileges of what it is to be human and deny them to others. And so, on this Juneteenth, I call us not only to action, but primarily to search our souls and to reflect upon where we are in our spirit and in alignment with the freedom that is offered to all by the gospel, and to live into and out of that as we continue to seek the full humanity of all of the children of God. Bless you, and blessed June 19th. Amen.